Hey guys, we're here today in New World with a guide to the Starstone Barrows expedition. There are three things I want to cover real quick before we jump into the dungeon. First, you will come across lasers in this dungeon, and these will either be stationary lasers that you need to crawl under, or moving lasers that you will need to time out, and these moving lasers will change speeds at certain points, making it a little bit more difficult. The second thing is that you will come across these purple shrines that will allow one member of your party to pick up a staff that will create a safe sphere around them, allowing you to block lasers and have your other party members pass through it. You cannot use any of your abilities while you have the staff out, and you will walk while you're using it. In order to drop the staff after you're done with it, just right click on your mouse and your character will switch back to his weapons. And the third thing is there are 5 chests in the Starstone Barrows, and unlike Amrine, none of them are needed for the main storyline, so you don't have to worry about missing out on anything, and we will go over where all these chests are at the end of the video. The first area you start in the Starstone Barrows is the Ancient Halls. There's nothing special about this area of the zone, you will just progress through defeating enemies and fight a single mini-boss. Once you get to your first door, that needs to be unsealed with the Azoth staff, you will enter the sealed chamber. As you head up the stairs here, you will see lasers on your left and your right. To your right, past the north moving lasers, is a dead end. However, it does hold a lore note and a little bit of resources. To your left, or the south side stationary lasers, is the way to progress the dungeon and has a respawn shrine. You'll progress a little farther after this shrine and approach the Forbidden Passage room, or what I'm calling the laser room. This is somewhat of a laser maze, and you will need to go through a certain path in order to progress through it. And this path is as follows. Head east and jump down the ledge that looks like a broken scaffold, and then you will turn south and see 2 moving lasers. You will pass across both of these. The first one can be passed easily by dropping off to a short ledge on the right and giving yourself more room. The second laser can be moved around by using a ledge on the left side of it. You'll continue south under 2 lasers and walk across a ledge heading west, and then you will turn north and climb up at the base of the stairs. You will then go back to the west and cross under another moving laser by using the walkway on your right. Once you climb up this ledge, you will turn to the south to another moving laser and an archer off in the distance. You can cross this moving laser by timing it or using the high ledge on your right if you feel more comfortable going over it. This is an area you need to be aware of if you are going first in your group, because once the archer aggroes you, he will fire a knockback shot that can knock you back into the laser if you do not dodge it. You will then turn back east and travel to the exact opposite side of the room by making 2 jumps over the broken scaffolds and rocks. Once you get over here, you will fight 2 enemies, and be sure not to get too close to the edges as falling off will kill you. And then you will get on another broken scaffold heading west and make a final leap towards a purple shrine. Have one member of your party interact with the shrine and gain a staff to allow your group to pass through the door to the south. This will bring you to another respawn shrine, and you can drop your staff. The next room we come across is the Amphitheatre room, which has nothing special to it, beyond some magical resources and another mini-boss. You'll progress through this room up the stairs, and head to the north to another door you will need to unseal with your Azoth staff. This will lead you to the Shattered Obelisk room, which will be a large open area with an elevated bridge running through the center. The first fight here does not have any mini-bosses in it, but proves to be fairly difficult and chaotic. There's an elite mage creature on your right at the base of the stairs, who has high damaging AoE orbs, and should be killed as soon as possible. You'll pass through the obelisk room over the bridge, and staying to the left side of the bridge since the right is blocked by lasers. And once you get to the other side and down the stairs, you'll notice there are lasers on either side of you. We will be progressing directly through the door to the west, but these lasers will play a role and we will be returning to this room. Once through the door, you will pass through the Antechamber, which is a linear tunnel and only has one direction to go, until you come across another sealed door that will lead you to the halls of the crypt. Both of these areas are linear and fairly straightforward, until you come across the mini-bosses Erebas and Limos, who reside in the halls of the crypt. They are standing next to a purple shrine for a staff, and this can be one of the more difficult fights in the dungeon. Limos, the boss on your right side, will use spear throws and spear charges, and will fight you from a mix of melee and range attacks. Erebas on the left is a mage who will use an AoE staff slam that deals devastating damage, especially to light armor users. He will fire out damaging orbs that are fairly slow moving, and he will spawn adds every 15 seconds, alternating between 1 add and 2 adds each time he does it. If you keep all of the creatures down in the center of the room, there can be a lot of damage flying out, and it can be hard to time Erebas' AoE attacks. My recommendation is to have the tank grab aggro and pull things up to the top of the stairs, which will have all the adds following him, and Limos will be firing at him from a range and most likely close the distance. Leave your tank up here with the healer, and likely your highest AoE DPS to kill the adds, while your other two DPS classes kill Erebas down at the center of the room, since he will not move and just uses range attacks. Your goal here is to kill Erebas as fast as possible to limit the adds and eliminate the AoE magic. You will then use the staff from the shrine in the room to move past a set of lasers. You'll continue down until you come across another respawn shrine. After using this shrine, you will come up and enter back in the Shattered Obelisk room where we encountered the bridge, but this time you'll be entering on the north side of it. It is here that we will fight Alector the Relentless. Alector is a mage like Erebas who will do an AoE slam, along with firing out slow-moving orbs. He also will spawn adds every 30 seconds in groups of 3, and he will periodically tether to one, making them grow in size, enhancing their damage and their damage resistance. It's important in this room to kill the adds as soon as they're up, and to keep them from stacking up on you. Avoid Alector's AoE attacks, and a glowing pool of purple that he will leave on the ground that deals high damage. Once Alector is dead, you will notice that there is a shrine in this room with him. We cannot use or interact with this shrine just yet, and we will be coming back to it later. You'll head down the stairs to the west, activate a shrine for a staff, and head through the lasers to the south. You may notice that this is back to where we started, at the base of the bridge with lasers on either side of us. You will both need to go up on top of the bridge and across lasers to the south, and it does not matter in which order you do this. If you head to the south, just use your staff to pass through the lasers, and you will fight a mini-boss, and locate a chest that gives you an Obelisk key. There will be another purple shrine in here for a staff, so you're welcome to drop yours for combat, and then pick one up after you're done. Once you're done, you will pass back through the lasers and head up to the top of the bridge, deactivate the lasers with this new staff, and have one of your group members interact with a pedestal that will activate the shrine where you killed Alector. If you decide to do these areas opposite and do the bridge first, don't worry if you drop your staff, because as you move from the bridge to the lasers to the south, there is a small path on the left side of the lasers that will let you cross without a staff. Once both of these areas are completed, we will head back to the north side of the room where we killed Alector, and the shrine next to him will now be activated, and you will be able to bless your Obelisk key at it, which will allow you to open the door to the final boss. In order to get to the final boss, we will head back to the north from Alector's shrine, and through the halls of the crypt, and back to the Antechamber we had already passed through. These areas will be repopulated with mobs, and you will have to fight your way all the way to the main boss. Once you reach the Antechamber, you will see on the north side of the room that there is a large door that needs the blessed Obelisk key to pass through. You will enter the crypt of the Regent. This is where we will fight the main boss, who has a name that I cannot say, so we will call him Gary the Regent. Gary will be fought in 2 phases. The first phase is fairly simple. Every 30 seconds, he will throw a spear-like bone at one of the players in the room. This bone will spawn adds, and if it is allowed to persist on the ground for long enough, it will spawn more adds over time. It should be killed as soon as possible, and then your focus can go back to Gary. The first phase is fairly easy and just gets you all warmed up. Once you have killed him, he will drop to the ground, and after a few moments, he will reassemble himself and enter his harder mode. In this second phase, Gary will do a massive leap across the room, damaging everyone near the impact point and sending out a purple shockwave that will hit people at a long range. This shockwave can be dodged through, and it's important to try and time this leap so that you do not get caught with multiple in a row. Gary will do 5 in a row, and be jumping to random players throughout the room. If you get caught by one of these shockwaves or slams, you will be slightly stunned, and this can snowball on you fairly quickly if you cannot recover your timing. He will do these 5 leaps every 45 seconds, and this 45-second timer starts from the moment he starts his leap. So between the last of the 5 leaps and him starting the next run is much closer in time. Gary will also throw out his bone mechanic every 60 seconds, but this time he will throw 3 bones in a row, spawning much more adds. He will also throw these at random players in the room and not at the same spot, so make sure you're being aware of the entirety of the room, as you could have missed one thinking that all 3 were together. Due to the staggered timing of his leaps and the bones, he will periodically throw the bones immediately after leaping, giving you very little time to recover from the damage of the shockwaves. Keep up with these 2 mechanics and eliminate adds as quick as possible, and slowly burn down the boss. Now we will go over where the 5 chests are in the dungeon to make sure you have not missed any. The first chest we come across is after the sealed chamber, where we first come across our lasers. After you crawl under the 3 lasers and hit your first respawn shrine, there's a chest directly to your right. The second chest is after the forbidden passage or the laser room. It is the same thing here. Once we pass through the lasers with the staff and come to a respawn shrine, there is a chest directly across the respawn. The third chest is directly after the amphitheater. We go through a sealed door, come to a respawn shrine, and as we ascend the stairs into the shattered obelisk, there is a chest to our left. The fourth chest is directly after we kill Alector in the shattered obelisk room, and it is located to our west before we descend the stairs. And the final chest is after we kill Gary. We will head west up the stairs and locate our reward. Hopefully this guide was helpful to you and gave you a basic understanding of how to defeat the bosses in the Starstone Barrows and how to navigate the terrain. Thanks for watching. I will see you next time.